what's up? Red Panda Anthem. Red Panda, what's good?
All right, so let's talk about social media. Social media wars are heating up. Google executive reports that 40% of Google searches are being stolen by TikTok. So which are the two social media companies you would invest in for the next 10 years? And let's talk about what is that TikTok stealing Google information? What's that about?
In terms of search. So now when people are looking for information, opposed to going to Google and looking up what's the best restaurant, what's the best pizza place in New York I should go to when I'm in town, people are now going to TikTok and saying, where in the Bronx should I go to get pizza? And shout out to Liz. She explained it. She's like, it's much easier to see a 15-second video about the place and you can feel if the customers are happy versus a Yelp review or text-based. So when we're talking YouTube has a search engine, we have to remember TikTok is a search engine as well. And the virality that they have, I haven't seen anything like it probably since 2005. Facebook. Like you can literally get on TikTok and if, depending on how your algorithm is set up, you can, even for me, I'll get on TikTok at night and I'll go through like my little conspiracy channels and, right? Did you know that there's other continents hidden behind the ice wall, right? And then I'll go past for an hour and TikTok like, you know, we love you, but you need to take a screen break. And I'm like, no, I don't want to take a break. I need more info. I haven't done that on Facebook. Kudos to Meta. I appreciate you guys. Shout out to Frederick. Shout out to Alvin. Shout out to Mark Zuckerberg. I'll be there soon. I appreciate you. But I have not spent that much time on Facebook in years. Like I got locked out of my Facebook account for 2 months and damn near did not care. If I got locked out of TikTok, I would be calling Chris and anybody I know. I may have to make one of them calls the Keys made to you when he had issues with his passport. I'm like, Shotty, please let the TikTok gods unlock me, right? So whenever they are publicly traded, from an investment standpoint, I would like them. And I like Snap for a swing trade. If I have to pick a second one, I would say that it would be Meta, but I would have to get it at such a deep discount. Maybe at let me get a price. I mean, I hate to say it, especially when I'm about to have a meeting with them, but it got to be true. The price that I would love to acquire Facebook at would be like $60.52. That's my low to boat price.
So for TikTok, ByteDance still owns them. ByteDance owns them.
ByteDance.
Yeah, so Chinese own. So if we're looking to invest in it, you're saying like that would be your two? It would be ByteDance.
Those are the only two to invest in.
By way of having TikTok and then Facebook?
Yeah.
Okay.
What's their ticker? Do you know?
ByteDance?
While you're researching that, I'll talk about TikTok. It's definitely a great way to find things. And I learned that from my son when he was he wanted to go to all of these weird places like this snow cone spot and like Coney Island and different burger places in Jersey. I'm like, where you finding this stuff? And it's like TikTok. And they do reviews. I'm sure you've probably seen it. They do like voiceovers, reviews, like, oh, I did this in Philly, best cheesesteak, top 3 cheesesteaks in Philadelphia. And it's actually something that a lot of people trust. It's interesting because they just trust it just because it's on TikTok and it has a lot of views. They don't even know who the source is coming from. It doesn't even have to be a reputable source. It just, if it makes your page, you see it, and you'll just say, okay,
so viral,
why not?
Yeah. BD.
So that aspect is very, very beneficial for TikTok. That I think that they have an advantage over everybody else when it comes to that, because like rooftop spots, and I got put on to a few spots like rooftops and different speakeasies and stuff like that from TikTok.
And STK for the $500 date idea.
Well, I didn't get put on from to STK. I was already familiar with STK, but that is something that could potentially make a TikTok list. Top 5 steakhouses.
Good.
Fire.
Yeah.
Earn Your Love dropping on Valentine's Day.
Stay tuned.
In the works.
Stay tuned.
In the works.
Just stay tuned alert. Has officially been issued. Stay tuned.
I kept telling you, I'm massive investor, invest in everything.
It's funny until it's not funny. It's funny until it's not. Earn Your Love.
Sidebar, can you talk about the importance of having confidence and immediately execution. Because my thing for my team is like, we got to go from idea to execution within 1 hour. You guys are great at that. Can you talk about how important that is, and then how you see that in other companies and what makes you invest in them? Because even when Apple, they'll come out with an idea, even the idea of having all these products in one phone, like if we separated these in 2005, if we went to Circuit City or something and got all this, it'd be $40,000 for this phone.
Circuit City.
Fell apart. But yeah, can you talk about how important it is to go from idea to execution, and then how many ideas are you creating per day?
Potential doesn't mean anything if it's not realized. And that's something that, I learned early on, is that everybody has ideas. Everybody can talk about, this is what I want to do, this is what my plans are, but very few people can execute it. And success loves speed. Shout out to Neo, one of the greatest quotes of all time, and it's true. So it's like InvestFest come up with the idea, and then like, let's do it immediately. Or whether it's Market Mondays, like let's execute and let's put out Market Mondays. Or whether it's InvestFest Europe, like we didn't have like 2 years to plan it. We had a couple weeks. All right, let's do it. Fashion Week, let's do it. So that's what's going to separate a lot of people, the strong companies from the weak companies, is the execution and the speed of execution. Because while you're waiting to execute, somebody else is going to execute, or somebody else can come up with the idea. Sometimes they'll steal your idea, or sometimes they'll just, some people just have similar ideas. Like, it's not like you're the only person in the world with that idea. So being first to market is extremely important. And that's something and speaking about it is extremely important as well, saying it. So it's like, when I was consistently saying that I was a fashion icon, after a while,
it's stuck. And you have to live up to it.
They just said it. They just agreed with it. And now we're doing a show at New York Fashion Week. So you'd be surprised what will happen when you just start saying things. Of course, you actually have to like do it, but you don't really get a lot of backlash. Like, even when we said we're the king of New York, probably could say that a little bit more. Not really a lot of backlash. Like, sometimes I think we're scared to say things because we think that it's going to be so much, it's going to get ridiculed. People's going to look at us. They're going to be saying so crazy stuff, but you'd be surprised, even if people do say stuff, a lot of people will actually agree with you. But they will never agree with you if you never say it. Absolutely. So if I never said I was a fashion icon, if I never said that, we was the biggest, we said we the biggest, and everybody just kind of said, you're the biggest.
Why not?
And for the people who say, let other people give you your flowers, and that's even interesting because Kanye's been saying that for 12 years. And people are like, I'm gonna give you your flowers and never bring no real flowers. But a person will not give you that position or title. Please write that down. While you're building your business, like as a African-American man from East Chicago, Indiana, no one would have, and with my demeanor and particular set of attitude and attributes, whatever said, hey, Ian's the master investor. I had to even teach people how to think about me. And then the episode when Mark Cuban was on, the greatest investor of this era, it's not a shot to anybody. I talk to Trap about this all the time. I'm like, dog, I know you think you're way doper than me on the fundamental. Like, that was just a calling card for me because my name is so boring. Shout out to my mom because she wanted to make sure I got a good job when I got older, right? Originally, my mom was going to name me Isaiah, funny story. And then my dad was like, if you name him Isaiah, let Isaiah take care of him. Shout out to my dad. That's legendary. The original
That's all.
Andrew Tate, you know what I mean? But it's really important to teach people how to think of you. And even though Apple's a luxury brand, they don't say that. So they have more, because there's a limit on how many customers you can have inside of a luxury brand. But they really reframe with the Mac versus PC how to look at Microsoft and indie Windows products. And at the time, it was like, okay, acceptable to have Windows. Now it's like, if you have a Windows computer or a computer that's not Mac, it's looked at as lame, and then it's spread over into the phone. Yeah. So be careful in how you target your customer base, but give yourself a title that you have to live up to. That's why, like, when you do the biggest, the fashion icon, same with Keys, you're like, hey, I'm a fashion icon. Don't let anyone box you, and you have to train people how to think about you in Apple, Google, Microsoft, Tesla has all done that.
You got to believe it too. You have to believe it. Like I 1000% believe. Like when he says these things, I'm like, yeah, I know he believes it. That's why they're like, yo, you never react when he says these things. I'm like, no, because he really believes that, bro. Like we really believe in the things that we saying, and we have the fearlessness. Like
right now, look at the fashion icon. Look, he got the smoldering look to the right, like he taking a photo.
Focus in, zoom in here.
Come on, do it again, Shotty. See,
notice the wrist. Look at the wrist. It's just a level of fearlessness. Like I said that before. Like we are always in fearlessness, and we're always in pursuit of greatness. And so we do things, and it's like, all right, let's do it. Let's execute on it. Let's make it great. And it's like, boom. While people are still trying to figure out what happened the last time, we already moved on to the next thing to be great with.
But one thing.
my bad. Oh, damn, I'm about to give you your whole my Emmy speech.
Flowers,
bro.
Yeah.
But nah. But it is, man. And it's one of those things like we never rest on our laurels because it's like, all right, we noticed something else. Let's try something new. And like that just goes back to like, I remember Max Maxwell came and he told us like, look, that jumping off the porch is the key. Like y'all really are doing this in a dining room, like with cameras and you got lights flickering. You don't care. You just care about the value you're going to add. And it's not that we didn't care. It's just like, yo, we're going to do it because nobody's doing it. And this is what we want to do. We're not looking like, hey, we're going to do this. And what's the backlash going to be? Yeah. Or what are people going to say? People are going to just have to live with it because we're not going to stop.
This that Red Panda Anthem. Ian, what's up? This that Red Panda Anthem. Red Panda, what's good? Red Panda Anthem. Whole point going up. I know they can't stand it.